Right, hello. Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all well. Now, it is Friday. That means it's time to celebrate. So let's have a cheer. A cheer for the fact that it's Friday. I hope you've had a really good week at home. I know the weather hasn't been as great this week. Possibly we've been a bit tired, a bit under the weather, but whatever you've done this week, let's celebrate some of it now. Now, hopefully, you've been tuning in to my little daily videos. This week, if you have, you will know that we're talking about inspiration, and we've linked that to our school badge, which is Inspired to Achieve. We've been thinking about the people who inspire us to achieve. We've been thinking about how we can inspire other people. And that might be people like Captain Tom, who got a mention, who's now been upgraded to a colonel yesterday on his 100th birthday. Well done to Captain Tom, who's raised that nearly £30 million now. But it might be people like your parents, your brothers, your sisters, sports coaches, people who teach you something in some way or other, people you look up to, celebrities. We've talked about all those sorts of things. So whoever it is, we've been really enjoying hearing about them this week, and we're going to celebrate some of that today. So let's have a round of applause first up for our reception team. Miss Cook and Mrs. Midlane. Just put them up a little bit straighter. I don't know what's happening with my high-tech resources here. They're a bit sloped. Right, let's start with them. So reception have said, we have reached the end of another week of home learning, and we continue to be proud of all the learning that's taking place. So many of you are sharing your activities from home and inspiring others to do the same. It's been a harder week with the weather, but you've all risen to the challenge and made us so proud. There are a number of children who've inspired Mrs. Midlane this week. Emily T has inspired her to get outside and take photographs of nature and sketch. Megan for taking it upon herself to research a famous explorer as extra learning this week and being inspired by her older brother. And finally, Isaiah for making a fantastic Lego model, inspiring Mrs. Midlane to want to build her own. So let's have an RM round of applause. And then in RC, this week in RC, Amelia N made a beautiful picture and did some writing about her auntie who inspires her because she's a good person, comes to her parties, and also studies at university. Jack has been working extremely hard with his brother and was inspired to organise his whole car collection to use to do some maths learning. Arav G was playing with his baby sister and was inspired by her musical play gym enough to want to learn the rhyme and to write all the words down himself. Amazing. Let's give a round of applause to RC. And the reception team have also said, can we send a reception shout out to all of the reception parents? We know it hasn't been an easy week, but they are doing an amazing job. Or here. Let's give them a round of applause as well. Okay, so on to our year one team now. So here we have Miss Evans and Mrs. Brown, and I think they are tuning in at school today. I think they're both working today. So hello there, and the children who are in school. Hi to all of you. Right, year one. So Mrs. Brown, first off, says, I have been very impressed this week, and everyone has got back into working from home. I've had lots of emails from parents telling me what the children have been up to at home, and have seen photos of some great work. I've been really pleased to see many of my class enjoying Bug Club this week and have enjoyed receiving letters written by some of my class. My shout outs are Lily for always continuing to work hard and really improving her writing by practicing lots. Isabel, she always sends me a diary at the end of the week so I can see all the amazing activities she's been doing, and she's always smiling and cheerful. And Eli, He's amazed me with how well he's working at home and doing lots of activities. He's been doing gardening, tie-dyeing t-shirts and practicing his maths planets. Keep up the good work, Eli. And she said, can I also say well done to Maisie for being brave as she's broken her collarbone. Hope you get better soon. Absolutely, Maisie. And well done to everyone in 1B. Let's have a round of applause for them. So from Miss Evans now, 1E, she says, even the rain hasn't dampened 1E's spirits this week. The photos, videos and messages I've received have shown great examples of learning, fun and happiness. And for a week dedicated to people who inspire us, I can definitely say that I'm inspired by every single member of 1E and their ongoing resilience. This week, I'd firstly like to shout out to Jacob and the rest of the Lane family. Following the rock hunt last week, Jacob decided that he'd like to paint and hide his own rocks for the others to find. He and his family set about hiding rocks around Bradley Stoke and sending pictures to the rest of us to give us clues as to where they were. It was a really great thing to be a part of, and I know I certainly enjoyed looking for the painted rocks whilst out for my daily exercise. So thank you, Jacob and family. I'd also like to shout out to Freya, who has been an absolute star. Not only this week, but every week. Daily, I see examples of Freya helping her family, having fun, and being the best big sister to her little brother. The videos and photos I receive from Mum always make me smile. I'd like to give my final shout out to Shania, who is working so hard at home. I'm so proud of all the challenges she's completing, and it shows me that she's definitely going above and beyond. Well done for another fab week, 1E. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, so on to our year 2 team. So Miss Devine and Mrs. Marsden. Let's hear who they have selected and what they've said. So year 2 say, this week has seen a change to the weather, but not a change to how proud we are of you. We've seen lots of you make use of your recycling and have fun completing capacity challenges. We've also seen you complete our science unit of work about plants, and we've had some very detailed life cycles of plants shared with us. It's also been lovely to hear about how many families are enjoying some quality time together, and lovely to see so many siblings supporting each other. We know this week has seemed a bit harder, so we really do want to make sure that we're not putting too much pressure on ourselves. The inspiration we've seen this week includes, so first off from 2D, Charlie. He's been inspired by his martial arts teacher and has completed daily tasks set for him. He's also drawn a picture of the inspirational event of the first moon landing. Sanvi in 2D has been inspired by her brother and has learnt a tune on the keyboard. And Hafiz in 2D has been inspiring his sisters during this home learning period. He's been completing all of his home learning and then has been like a mini teacher and supported them with their learning. What a great big brother. Let's give a round of applause for 2D. So 2M then, Reggie has been inspired by his mum, dad and sister because they're all being great teachers and helping him to learn new things. Emmy has been inspired to work on new skills. She's been watching the Great British Sewing Bee, and afterwards she sat and sewed her mum a red bag with buttons. Wow. Isla S has been inspirational and super resilient this week and has cracked the life skill of riding her bike. Hooray! So well done to everyone in 2M. Fantastic. Now, let me see. We always have a little break between the classes. So in this break, I am going to read you an email that I received earlier this week. And this email was from a member of staff who was desperate to shout out in this week's celebration assembly. So this is from Mrs. Elmore. And Mrs. Elmore would like to shout out to Mrs. Davis for being a complete and utter living legend. Not only has she been smashing out the learning for year 5, but she also inspired me and started an amazing list of VE Day activities, which are now going to be used across the whole school next week. Counting myself very lucky to have someone to motivate me in these crazy old times. So a big shout out from Mrs. Elmore to her teaching partner, Mrs. Davis. Let's give them a round of applause. Well done. And then a quick shout out as well to Joseph in 5D and Oscar in 3B, who contacted me to tell me about the inspiration they found in the marathon runner Eliud Kipchoge, who actually ran a marathon in under 2 hours. They asked me whether I thought I could do the same. I said, I very much doubt it. I might be able to get myself up and showered in 2 hours, but thank you to them. Not only did they recognize his efforts, they recognized that to do that amazing feat, he needed a whole team of people around him. It's not just the athlete that you have to think about. So thank you to them for contacting me, Joseph and Oscar, with their inspiration. Okay, so first bit of heckling in from Mr. Woodworth. So Mr. Woodworth is inspired by me. Look at that. Although the things that inspires him aren't perhaps the things I would have selected myself. So Mr. Woodworth said it's my tidy desk and tidy beard that inspires him. Well, Mr. Woodworth, grow your own, okay? We'll see you shortly. Give him a round of applause. Moving swiftly on to our year 3 team. So Miss Gregory and Mrs. Bibby. Now, year 3 have sent me a long list of things. I'm just going to move to a different sheet of paper. So year 3 have said, well done to all of year 3 for continuing to work so hard on their home learning this week. Thank you to all the families who've taken time to send emails and keep in touch. It's really appreciated. Both Miss Gregory and Mrs. Bibby love seeing what you've been up to. So the people who inspire us. So Daniel in 3G has written about Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, I've actually had some of the work sent through to me here. I can't read all of it to you now, but he's talked about things that like Cristiano Ronaldo has loads of stunning tricks that I could learn in the future. The fact that he used to be a poor person and he worked extremely hard to get where he got. So Daniel has mentioned Cristiano Ronaldo. Alex in 3B has also been chosen for his piece of work, also about Cristiano Ronaldo. He said Ronaldo is actually the most charitable athlete in the world, and he's donated one of his golden boots to charity. So clearly a lot of love out there for Cristiano Ronaldo. I've got Iris in 3G has described 2 of her inspirations. So here's a little some of Iris's work. She's mentioned Joe Wicks. She's done a long list of reasons, but a couple of the things. He helps me to get out of bed, and I look forward to his workout. By the end of it, I'm really positive. I almost explode. Her second person is Greta Thunberg. She said that Greta is a young girl that shows me it doesn't matter who you are, you can make a change. And she said that Greta also inspired her to want to join the Eco Committee. So listen, excellent choices there. Well done to you. I've got Iha in 3G has written about how her mum and dad inspire her. There's a bit of Iha's work there. And she said, my mummy inspires me in lots of things, like when I'm stuck, because she always believes in me. Well, that is excellent. We've also got Hasif in 3B, has been inspired by Captain Tom. Should we get Captain Tom back in the picture? Hasif says Captain Tom has inspired him to stay positive and stay healthy. He also can't believe that he's 100 years old. Now, I can't believe that either. More than 10 times Hasif's own age. Hasif designed and posted a card to Captain Tom to wish him a happy birthday. Well, I know he will have received that. I saw something on the news, and all of Captain Tom's cards were displayed in his grandson's school. There were literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands of them. So maybe your postcard is there too, Hasif. And then Izzy in 3B says that people who inspire her are David Walliams and Quentin Blake. She says that Quentin Blake's drawings make her feel fuzzy and happy inside, and she wants to be able to draw like him one day. David Walliams inspires her with his imagination and his ability to write such amazing stories. She says his stories take her in her head to another fun place, like in The World's Worst Children. His stories have inspired her to write stories like Treat World, Cookie Catastrophe, and The Giraffe Who Wished He Could Fly. Izzy says she wants people to read her stories to feel happy, and she wants to be able to transport them to another world. Now, she sent me a copy of her story, The Giraffe Who Wished He Could Fly. I can't read all of it now, but if I read you the first couple of lines, you'll notice it's very cleverly written to rhyme. There was once a giraffe who wished he could fly, soaring above the clouds with the birds so high. He had a long neck, as tall as can be. It reached as far as the tallest tree. But it wasn't enough, he wanted to soar. Instead, his feet were stuck to the floor. That's amazing, Izzy. Maybe we could read the rest of that in Hot Chocolate later. I'll see what I can do. But a round of applause for everyone in year 3. Thank you, year 3. Right, let's move on to year 4. So Miss Long and Mrs. Moon. So they have said another super week from year 4. Miss Long nominates Toby, Will, and Zara for our theme this week. Toby is an inspiration. Toby is an inspiration by joining a virtual marathon to raise money for the Australian bushfire that happened at the beginning of the year. Miss Long has been inspired by Toby's generosity and commitment to supporting others. Will is inspired by the Manchester City player called Kevin De Bruyne. He's been injured a few times over the past few years, but he's kept playing and didn't give up. Will finds his resilience very inspiring. Zara is inspired by Malala because she stands up for the education rights and raises lots of money for schools around the world. She believes that everyone is entitled to an education and fights for this. Well done, 4L. These are great things to be inspired by. Very much agreed. Well done, 4L. 4M. So in 4M, we have been inspired by lots of people. Elijah has been inspiring people to get involved in coding this week, and he has achieved 2 certificates for his online coding of a game, one that Mrs. Moon found incredibly difficult. Well done, Elijah. Zach has been inspired by Miss Evans and Mrs. McIver to spread happiness in the local area. After seeing their painted rocks, he decided to paint some of his own and hide them for children to find. Smashing work from Zach. And finally, a few children have emailed me to say they found Senna's granddad inspiring. Senna's granddad gave a Zoom talk to some of 4M about his work excavating the Mary Rose ship. He told us about the divers that carefully cleared silt from the ship over long hours with limited visibility. He told us about things they found aboard the ship and even showed us his diving suit. Mr. Hugh is definitely an inspiration. Well done, 4M, for all your hard work this week when I know you found it tricky at points. Let's give 4M a round of applause. Well done. Right, so before we move on to our year 5-6s, a couple of thoughts. So first thought from me, if you're watching this, thank you for tuning in. Maybe text a few people and ask them to join in as well. It would be lovely to have the whole school here every week for celebration. Now, last time I looked, I had about 296 subscribers, and I am a fan of round numbers. So if you're watching and you don't subscribe, can you please subscribe? But stop at 300, otherwise I'll get a little distressed. Next thing, books. You know that we love reading at Wakefield, and we love you to read and to enjoy your books. And I hope that you've been listening to many of the stories that your teachers have recorded for you. Lots of those are on their web pages. On our home learning site, we've also got a section called Favourite Stories. I can't mention them all, but I thought I'd mention a couple now. So Mr. Woodworth, these are all Roald Dahl. Mr. Woodworth has been reading Danny, the Champion of the World. I believe he has nearly finished that book. That's in the Favourite Stories section. A classic and a bit of a tearjerker. Why don't you tune in for that? The Roald Dahl, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I believe Year 3 have been reading this, and it's now in the Favourite Stories section. So if you want to hear Miss Gregory and Mrs. Bibby reading chapters from this, you could go and check it out. And then George's Marvelous Medicine. I've been reading some of this on my YouTube channel. I haven't done a chapter for a while, but I'm planning to do some more very soon. I think we're about up to chapter 7. So tune in for some of those. Thank you to all of our teachers and staff and people who've been reading stories. It is amazing to see. I've enjoyed watching them too. And there's nothing like hearing a familiar voice reading a comforting and well-written story. So many thanks for that. Parents, we always say thank you to you at this time each week, and you're probably thinking, where's our certificate? You know, we've done our week 4 of QTS. Did we pass? Of course you passed. You've done an amazing job. There's been a little theme through some of the teachers' threads this week saying that it's been tougher. It's bound to be tougher, isn't it? I think all of us emotionally are doing this, but you know, we get through tough things. That's what we do. So stick at it. Thank you for your efforts. Don't forget to give out some of these above and beyond. Okay, give some of these out to your children. They make a huge difference. And QTS, yeah, we have got your certificate this week. I thought you might be at the point where you're running out of some of these again. So this week's certificate is specially designed to help with that. So look, I hope you enjoy that. Parents, big clap to all of our families. Thank you. Right, let's move on to our Year 5 and 6 team. So we have Mrs. Elmore and Mrs. Davis. So they say, throughout this drizzly grey week, it's safe to say Year 5 have been the sunshine needed in Mrs. Davis and Mrs. Elmore's days. We know that for some of you, it hasn't been an easy week. So we want to shout loudly and proudly about how fabulous you are to keep going in the face of adversity. Stay super team, we've got this. A few special mentions then. So George, who has been inspired on his daily walks by people who've taken good care of their gardens to encourage birds and bugs to visit. This has inspired him to make his own bug hotel and birdhouse for his garden. Well done, George. Henry has been inspired by his martial arts instructor who set him daily challenges. He has created some incredible detailed drawings of a skeleton, animals, and a space rocket. Brilliant work. Sam was inspired to complete a marathon throughout April and completed the last mile with his family last Sunday. Sam donated the entry fee to the Bournemouth Food Bank too. So great achievement, Sam. I'm sure you will now inspire others. Walt, who wrote in great detail about his dad and all the reasons that he inspires him. In addition to this, he then decided to research other inspirational people and discovered lots of facts about the suffragettes. It's been a cracking week for Mr. Carroll, and I'm so impressed with how hard he's worked. And I know Mum is too. I bet Dad is too, hearing how you feel inspired by him, Walt. And finally, Meher, who has inspired her little brother, Kabir, and helped him to learn his 11 times tables. Not only is she taking responsibility for her own work, she's paving the way for others too. Well done, Meher. And finally, Caden, who's been dedicated to fitting both his studying and gymnastics practice in each day. He's produced some outstanding and beautifully presented work in English this week, which he said he was feeling proud of. Keep up the inspiration, Caden. So that is everyone for Year 5. Let's give them an enormous round of applause. Well done. And finally, then, onto our Year 6 team. So Miss Garraway and Miss White join me now on the sofa. Let's hear from them. They say, well, this week's theme of inspiring others certainly rings true in Year 6, as we are both constantly inspired and amazed by the children of Year 6. They constantly are proving themselves to be respectful, resilient, kind members of Wheatfield that we always expect of them. In 6W this week, I've been inspired myself by all of the children and their commitment to the hard work that they've been doing at home. Caitlin has, without fail, updated me each day this week with all of her writing, and she inspires me to keep planning exciting English lessons, as I can tell that she enjoys them so much by her writing. Harley has also inspired me, as even though he managed to catch chicken pox while staying at home, he's still been emailing me with his amazing writing, and it is some of the best writing that I have seen from him yet. Chloe has also taken inspiration from a little YouTube clip that both Miss Garraway and I recorded earlier in the week. She emailed me over a video of her attempting the challenge, and I must say that she was much better than I was. On the topic of other than inspiration, can I also give a cheeky birthday shout out to Amy? Mum tells me it's her birthday on Sunday, and I hope she has the best birthday yet. Well, listen, well done to everyone in 6W, and happy birthday to Amy. Let's give them a round of applause. So finally, 6G. In 6G, I have seen a range of inspiring activities and learning going on. Evie R was inspired by the 30-day Lego challenge to create an amusement park ride complete with all of the people, which was absolutely amazing. Evie F this week has been inspired to create a maths game sent by one of the other parents, and she has also been very creative in the kitchen, doing lots of cooking and baking, all of which sound delicious. Callum has inspired me with his dedication to home learning. He's still managing to get through all of the work that was setting and has been particularly hardworking on his writing, which I've really enjoyed reading. It has to be said that all of Year 6 have been wowing us with their writing this week. We have tasked them with writing a story, one section a day, and have been really impressed with the quality of writing we've been sent. We're taking sentences from every child to make class stories, which we will be sharing with them later today. So a massive round of applause to Year 6. Okay, so before we sign off, a couple of things. So the first thing is, let's say thank you to Miss White. Why are we saying thank you to Miss White, you ask? Well, you're going to find out at 11 o'clock today. But let's just put it this way. Miss White has inspired all of the school staff this week. She had an amazing idea. We knew that people were feeling maybe a little bit low, maybe not quite as motivated as they needed to be, and maybe just a bit out of touch with one another. So she came up with a great idea to bond the staff. It's a little video. We are going to post it at 11 o'clock today on the various YouTube channels we've got. We'll put it on Twitter as well. So hopefully you can tap into one of those and you will enjoy it. I've had a little preview. I think it's amazing. And I'm really, really grateful to Miss White for inspiring us to do it. So a round of applause for Miss White. And next week, in your home learning, there's some information coming out about VE Day. It's the 75th anniversary of VE Day, Victory in Europe. And next Friday, this time next week, was originally a bank holiday, and the nation were going to be celebrating this momentous event. Now, we can't do that. We know we can't go outside. We can't all mix together. But the teachers, led by Mrs. Elmore, have put together some activities that you can get involved in, so you can learn about that. And hopefully, if every year group gets involved a little bit, again, it's just another thing that connects us a bit more and allows us to mark this significant historical event together in some way. So do look at that information. Do give other people a nudge if they haven't seen it, and let's see what we can do next week to celebrate that. as a school. So let's finish with a final Wheatfield round of applause. Thank you to everyone for sharing your stories of inspiration, for trying to inspire others, and for just being all round a good sports. 3 o'clock, we will do hot chocolate. If you want to shout out to anyone who hasn't been shouted out to already, if you want to send a message to a friend, anything like that, tag a message onto this video. I will enable that to happen in about 5 minutes time. So put your messages onto this video and we will read out as many of those as we can at 3 o'clock. Teachers join in as well. Anyone who's watching, joining us. All the best.